So this is our 740 classic John Deere loader. 8-foot bucket. This is maybe only the third time since I bought this where I took off the bucket. And I was just going to illustrate and how you do that. I didn't realize it, but these, once it slid into place, actually locked themselves. Which I thought was kind of interesting. I wasn't exactly sure how that went. We had some questions about it, so we have it on. So I was going to talk about the loader a little bit. Now, during the winter months, you know, there's a lot of chores. It's repetitive stuff. And I thought this is something a little different. So this loader I've owned probably almost 15 years now. This loader can be mounted on any of the 7000 series tractors. 7510, I believe maybe the 7810. I'm not positive on that. A lot of it has to do with the mounting bracket in here. Now I'm going to need to take this off, so you might have seen a video where we actually put it on, which you just have to think backwards to know how it's quite simple, but it needs to be taken off on a very level, flat surface. Otherwise, it can be quite the challenge to get everything lined up. So the first time when I got this loader, I just put it out behind the shed. I put it on some blocking so it wouldn't sink into the lawn area there, and I had a heck of a time trying to get it mounted back up again because of that. You kind of live and learn, I guess. And it's a self-leveling loader, which these here, along with this mechanism, and then the cylinders being above, I think if it wasn't the self-leveling, it would have, this cylinder would have mounted in here someplace. And then of course down in here there's a little more linkage. I think my heifers can hear me talking and they're complaining up there a little bit. So self-leveling means that as you raise up, if your loader is set like this, as you raise up, your loader will stay the same tilt, whatever tilt you start off with. You will not have to use your remotes to adjust as you raise up. And it is kind of nice, I think, for the guys that do round bales a lot and stuff. So this could have a bale spear, forks. There's different attachments that come with it. We only have the bucket. And the time that it really made the most use out of it was back in 2010 when we ended up getting like 2 feet of snow. I didn't have the snow blower yet, so we were pushing snow. And the skid steer couldn't raise it up high enough anymore. So this, between the skid steer and this machine, we were able to clean everything up better. Another thing we used it for is like if we would butcher a beef, a full-size beef animal, it'll raise it off the ground. I mean, like the height of a person, that would be the lowest part of it, so that you could have it hanging overnight, and gets it up there a ways and handles it fine. And then, of course, if you want to let it hang for a couple days, we got the, you know, we need the skid steer for other things, so then we have it on the loader. And then pushing up brush, and we've used it for some scaffold work, which is extremely stable, you know, compared to a skid steer. But it's bulky. And then someone said something here too in one of the comments about using the loader, you know, on there, like when we do winching, which they're not wrong, but typically where I do winching, it's very hilly, and it is not good to have a loader on a tractor when you're driving on side hills. I mean, you got to keep it low, you got to be very careful, and we need a lot more weight in the back. If I was going to use this loader for a lot more things, like on the hillsides, we need like more than double the weight we got back there now. Maybe fluid in the tires even. I mean, that's just, you're going to get yourself in trouble otherwise, because it's so top heavy. There's a lot of iron up in here. And then you could take the bucket off. Like if you didn't want to take the whole loader off, you could instantly take the bucket off, get rid of some of that weight. Some tasks you might have to do with the tractor where we have other tractors to use. So, but to take this loader on and off, it's actually quite easy, very simple. As long as it's in a handy spot where you can get in and get out, you don't have to move a lot of other stuff. I keep it inside on the shop floor because everything is flat and level. That's the levelest place I got. And then it's got these stands. And you guys will just have to pay attention when I start doing this, and you can observe. And then this quick coupler attach. There's 4 lines in here. You can get it with 6. So for instance, there can be another set of hoses that comes down to a grapple. So for instance, if you wanted to grab a round bale with the bucket like this, you could, or whatever else, brush. And then up here you have your, which activates all your cylinders, and it's 4-way. Raise it up, put it down, and then you got your tilt in there. I think how they do it when for the third remote, they may have a device where there's maybe a toggle switch on top. Somehow it's all, so everything is on one hand. And typically they mount these on tractors that got what they call a left-hand reverser, which is a trigger sticking out of the steering column, so that one hand is on the steering wheel, and you can basically flick your forward reverse lever. Instead of having this lever, you would have it on the steering column, and then the other hand is on your loader remote. That's typically how a loader tractor gets set up. Now this 7405, even though this loader fits this tractor, this tractor was what they called the Advantage series. They had a 7405, I believe a 6405, and a 6605. This is the equivalent frame, like 10 series. Same framing, pretty much the transmission and all that stuff. But the biggest difference from everything I've researched is this hydraulic pump. And it's right here's the hydraulic pump. And this pump on this one only looks about 1/4 of the size that it does on a 7510. But being that this one is open station, I think it makes a better loader tractor for us. Now, if we were in such a situation where we were driving down the road a lot to go feed cattle, let's say, on different farms where you're handling round bales and you're out in the open more, I mean, the 7510 would have been a better deal to have loader on, because the 7510 is built a lot heavier. As far as front axle, hydraulic pump, like I was saying, is way bigger, so it makes the oil flow faster, gallons per minute. You know, it's just more. I would have to look it up in the book, but I know it's a lot of difference there. But the only thing with this, when we got to put this loader on, I have a suitcase of weights I like to keep on this tractor at all times, except when I got to put the loader on, because it would obviously get in the way. Here's your weight bracket, and I think, what do we got, 6 weights there? And they're real easy to take off or put on, except the fact that they're heavy. They weigh about 100 pounds each, and they got a big handle on them. It's kind of what they call suitcase weights. You have to use both hands, but you're able to handle them well. I put them right back on as soon as I take the loader off, because we don't go anywhere without it. We're in the hills all the time. We need that weight. And it helps even on the icy slopes here, backing up into places and stuff. Puts a little more weight on your front wheels and stuff, so it kind of balances the tractor better. That's really the only thing that takes a little time when it comes to, you know, hey, we need the loader, let's get it on quick. And if it isn't easy and quick, you're more likely either to leave it on or never use it, you know, so then you have to have it handy. And then right here, there's these huge pins that go into this hole, and they store right here on the bracket when they're not getting used, so they're all there. And then here is a wedge system. There's a bolt right here that makes this wedge. You can kind of imagine that, and it tightens up this bracket inside this bracket. So this part stays with the tractor and this part stays with the loader. After it gets mounted, just to tighten it up. And I don't always do that when I'm just gonna, let's say we're just gonna butcher a beef or use it briefly somewhere. All it does is stabilize it a little bit more. It's not gonna fall off of there. It's just, you don't want it jiggling around if you're gonna use it for a whole lot more than just a couple of quick things. So I did some checking. So on the 7405, this tractor weighs 11,576 pounds, and that's probably without any extra weights or anything, just a base model, 4-wheel drive. And 7510 weighs 12,343 pounds. Hydraulic pressure on the 7405 is 2,750 psi with 17.5 gallons per minute of flow. Now the 7510 is 2,900 pounds per square inch of hydraulic pressure and 26 gallons per minute of flow. So a little bit of difference there, but anyway, that's the story. So I'm gonna get the spot swept up in the shop there where it was, and we'll take it off and let you guys observe that. hydraulics, so I can't move these hydraulics, and it's off to the side out of our way. And I also released the pressure with the tractor off by moving the lever, so everything is relaxed as far as all the pressure's out of your hoses. And that just comes out. So the loader's off. It's actually quite simple once you've done it a few times. There's little tricks to it, but it seems to want to scoot the head like maybe a foot and a half, and it's just kind of the way it wants to balance on your stands, because it wants to kind of like lift up a little bit as it's coming out. And then what happens is, the only thing I got to be careful for is so that I have enough hose, it doesn't end up yanking your hoses. And then there's one little thing here, this little cotter pin here. This is like a bracket that holds all the lines in place. Goes right in that little hole right there. So when you're going to disconnect your loader, you got to make sure you take that out of there so you have a little bit of slack in your hoses, so when that loader likes to scoot ahead when it's coming off, it's able to do that without ruining anything. And I'm not sure, but I don't think you're able to take this loader off without any attachment on the front, because of I could be wrong there. I never had tried it, because there's so much weight in these brackets up here that I'm not sure if that down there would stay down. The loader bucket itself weighs, I'm sure, quite a bit. And then it's to keep it stable from tipping over on you. I mean, I just feel this is better this way. Like if I was gonna drive this tractor in just for whatever reason, without mounting the loader, I can still drive the front of my tractor into this area just to conserve space a little bit, gives us a little extra room, except you got your weights on there, so you ain't gonna get in this far. So now we gotta put them weights back on. This is what they call suitcase weights. Some tractors don't come with this weight bracket. I think the 7405s, this is, I believe, if I'm looking at this right, this would be part of the framing. Now if we look at the 7510, no, see the 7510, here's your weight bracket, here's your framing. It's in here. It's a little different. Same weights, these weights would fit both tractors, actually, the 7810, 7510, all the 10 series, and some other stuff too. That's something when you're buying equipment, you have to be aware of if you feel you may need it someday, because you could end up having to pay quite a bit to find that. But I believe the 7405, it actually is part of the framing. There's not that little split down in here. Anyway, so that's that. And then when you buy the loader, they give you this part to go on to protect the front from something like this. Again, it must have been a branch when I pushed up brush, and that doesn't look anything too serious. I think if we just took the front off, and we could probably ding that out without anything much. So anyway, I'm gonna have you guys watch me lug these things back on here. My dog leaves me alone. You want all the attention today, don't you? I think you just want your back scratched. They get a little rusty in between because these things are over 20 years old already. So I always try to get the nice clean painted ones to the outside. So if I take them off, I lay them out just the way they got to go back on. So I might have to figure out which side that end one goes on. And then right in the middle here on the weight bracket, there's like a little nub. So you can't slide past the middle, and that holds everything on. So you put a bolt through to hold your whole section together. I believe you can put 12 or I think there's 10 on the 7510. I think there's 12 on the 7810. And this one, I had to buy these extra when I bought the tractor. But I got 6 of them here. See, so this one's a little cleaner. So if we were gonna polish this tractor up, I would only paint the outside weight. You don't have to paint the whole thing. You still get a nice look. And another little trick, sometimes you use just a piece of 2x4 or something, but you always want to lay something on the floor so you can get your hand under it. You know, because it's going to be kind of hard to pick up something that's that heavy that's flat on the floor. Just little things we learn through time. I believe that's what keeps us successful around here, is all the detail. And who says I need to go to the weight room, right? Plenty of this type of stuff on the farm. Now originally it came with 2 of these bolts, and then they give you this mechanism that actually can go down in these grooves, and you can hold it here and then stick your bolt through the side hole. And then, like, say you had 14 weights on there, instead of having a really one big long bolt, you'd have 2 bolts. And that's the reason for the nub in the middle on the weight bracket that's attached to the tractor, is to keep them centered and keep them from sliding off. But being that we only have 6, this is more than sufficient. It goes through there. And then we know what, it's a 15/16 inch ratchet I'll use, so it's quite quick to do. And if I wasn't trying to explain everything to you guys, we'd have been done with this little project quite a while ago. But it is one of those rainy, wet winter days. I'm just trying to see if I got them straight, because you can have them crooked and may not matter, but they're still gonna hold the tractor. So that's that process for us, and it's real simple. So thanks for watching. I mean, if you got any questions, leave them in the comments. And all that subscribe stuff and all that stuff, well, you guys hear that, you know what to do. So there you go.